€10 trillion is the estimated cost of the cyber threat in 2025. If people don't take cyber resilience as the most important thing they can be doing, they're going to fail as a business.
Welcome to The Big Question, the series from Euronews where we address some of the most important issues on the business agenda. Today, I'm joined by James Hodge, the Chief Strategy Advisor for Europe at Splunk.
So thank you very much for joining me today, James. Cybersecurity is a growing conversation, and we're hearing lots of reports that the threat is getting bigger and bigger. But can you just put in perspective, how much of a problem is the cyber threat to the European economy?
I think if you just look at it globally, it's a huge threat. €10 trillion is the estimated cost of the cyber threat in 2025. And by 2029, I think that's going to grow by 64%. It is, I think, one of the biggest topics of our time at the moment as we're going through this new digital boom.
Can you just explain exactly what a cyber attack looks like?
Everything is digital nowadays. So I think what a cyber attack really is someone has found a way into my infrastructure and either steal information from it, or they might go and block access to that or delete it. So the impact of that can be really large. To think from a hospital point of view or anything critical infrastructure, the impact of maybe something very simple like a patient booking system being unavailable, or the system in a hospital to go and get blood tests being able to be locked out can have a catastrophic consequence. So when you think about what those type of cyber crimes are, typically they are either something called a distributed denial of service attack. I think last year that counted for 46% of all attacks on businesses, where they just flood the business with lots of requests. You know, imagine lots of people are just shouting at you and you now don't know what to do.
Oh gosh.
Or ransomware, where like an operating system comes up, it asks you to update your software. If you don't do that, you may be vulnerable to one of these type of attacks. Someone gets into your computer and locks you out and then extorts you for money to go and get access to it back. And we're definitely seeing that on a rise.
After a company has kind of been attacked, what does that actually mean for a business?
Well, so I think the first thing that happens when a company gets attacked is you get this period of uncertainty. You're trying to get into kind of the essence of what happened. Really what we have is failure. And failure starts to bring in doubt. So the next time you want to do some innovation, you want to roll out a new piece of software, you've always got it at the back of your mind, have we got this right? Have we protected it a bit more? And you start to stutter, you start to lose that pace of innovation. And now the speed of innovation in the marketplace is potentially the most important thing because it's so competitive, but you can't do that at the cost of failure and cyber breaches because trust is paramount to running a business. It takes about 75 days to recover from most cyber incidents. In terms of cost, we did some work last year and a report called The Cost of Downtime that looked at the global top 2,000 businesses. And on average, each business could attribute around €195 million of cost to downtime, €44 million of which was lost profit.
Is there a big difference between the protection that different businesses have?
So, take the European Union, businesses that are less than $250 million of revenue are twice as likely to have a cyber breach than a business that's over $5 billion of revenue.
Wow.
Why? Well, because actually businesses over $5 billion of revenue are really heavily investing in cyber protection, cyber best practices, whereas the businesses under 250 million might be much smaller, they might be on that meteoric rise as they're going through that innovation pace, so they haven't thought about it.
So is there a greater knock-on effect of those businesses being at risk?
Big corporations quite often look to the SME community to go and take that unique innovation and then start to embed that into what they do. So there's two knock-ons. One is we might end up having those big services provided by big corporations. The other side is we are potentially squashing innovation and slowing down innovation that is incredible. And so it's getting that right, promoting cyber best practices, it's not a bad thing, and really kind of unlocking that innovation and potential that we can go and have.
As technologies progress, is that making the cyber risk worse or is it aiding the fight, do you think?
I think it is adding a huge amount of complexity. As we get more advances in technology, the opportunity to be creative, bring something new into the world, get first to market really is it's exciting. If you think about technology today compared to 20 years ago, it's liberating is one word you could use for it, but it's also increasing your attack vectors, your surface of what could be attacked is going up so much more.
What can be done to help reduce the risk for businesses and maybe reduce any gaps in the armour?
So when a business thinks about risk, First thing they shouldn't be doing is thinking about technology. The favourite thing I like is pre-mortem, thinking about, okay, we're going to launch something, this is going to fail.
Okay.
How could it fail? And before, what we used to have would be a single department would go and think about it. It might have been IT. And then cyber might have thought about that later on, just before release.
Okay.
Whereas now it's much more of a cross-functional issue. We have legal, we have compliance, HR starting to get involved, sales, marketing, IT, cyber. So when a business starts to think about cybersecurity, they first should be thinking cross-functionally on what could go wrong, what is the impact of this, and let's plan for that failure. And then go and get prepared for that, because that creates the right culture that you can then go and accelerate with technology, rather than thinking technology is this magic silver bullet and that's going to protect us from everything.
Looking to the future, how do you see the cyber threat developing?
So one of the things that ENISA, the European Cybersecurity Agency, came out with in their 2024 report was that 26% of attacks were ransomware attacks, and they're seeing that rise. The World Economic Forum in their 2025 cybersecurity assessment said that 74% of the respondents said that cybersecurity attacks were on the rise. So it's getting more complicated, but we are seeing more international cooperation. There's a big operation to go and take down ransomware as a service providers. So Lockbit, very famous, got taken down with a joint operation between the United States, the UK, Interpol, Europol, and other organisations around the world. So we're starting to see governments also see this as a competitive advantage to go and work together to be able to go and secure people as much as possible and go and set out as much best practices to go and combat that kind of race between cyber criminals and kind of the rest of the world.
And finally, if companies don't address this issue, will the potential problem grow? What could be the impact for the European economy going forward?
If people don't take cyber resilience, digital resilience, as the most important thing they can be doing, they're going to fail as a business. And if you think about 10 years ago, the pace of innovation to the pace of innovation today is just breathtaking, and those advances are only going to go and increase. At school, I was rubbish at art. I think my school art report said James enjoys art. A good conversation with ChatGPT, and I can create amazing ideas. So what it can do is incredible. Now apply that to the technology space, to what you can do with 3D printing. That is breathtaking. What we actually need is creative minds that can now work with technology. If we don't then think about the resilience of that, we're always going to be on the back foot, because we're always thinking about a protection agenda rather than a growth and an innovation agenda, because we've not thought about security by first principles.
Thank you so much for your insights today. It's been fascinating. And thank you for joining me on The Big Question.
Thank you very much.